I would like to talk to VA again. I know you're probably not listening, VA. So I would like to tell you for the DROCs, DROC is a Decision Review Operations Center. DROCs, I'm talking to you right now. Please, for the love of all things good, stop letting intake specialists decide what a valid appeal is. When the board grants a benefit, let's say service connection for diabetes, and the DROC comes back and gives a 10% for that diabetes, and the veteran is on medicine, on insulin, and it has peripheral neuropathy that didn't get addressed, and has hypertension that didn't get addressed, and has a bunch of other diabetic residuals that didn't get addressed. What do we have there? We have a rating that's incorrect, a 10% that should be higher. We have a bunch of residuals of the diabetes that's supposed to be rated independently that didn't get addressed. So what is somebody like me going to do? Well, I am going to file a higher level review on a case like that and tell the DRO, because they don't have DROs do these implementations anymore. They have first line raters. And I'm going to say, look, you underevaluated this for these reasons, and you failed to adjudicate service connection for all these residuals of diabetes. But what the DROC does when they get that form, they send it through intake, which intake has its function. I get that. But then the intake specialist looks at it and goes, oh, well, that's from a board decision. You can't appeal a board decision. So we're going to issue you a request for application letter, which is a reject letter, telling you you can't appeal this decision. What's wrong with that picture? In order to know what a valid appeal is, you need some kind of rating experience or appellate experience. Intake specialists generally do not have that, but it's the intake specialist that's deciding, oh, this is not a valid appeal. So what happens? The appeal is canceled. We have had this happen over and over and over and over and over since the AMA has come about in 2019. We're in 2026 now. You guys are still doing this one thing that I have sent message after message after message after message to the DROC, telling you to stop and to re-implement the appeal that you canceled. Now, they always get reinstated because we chase you down until you do, until someone looks at it that realizes these are valid appeals. Because what we're doing is not appealing the board decision. The board granted service connection. You implemented that grant and you implemented it incorrectly, and we're trying to appeal your decision. And your little reject letter will either say something like you can't appeal a board decision, which is incorrect, or you can't have a higher level review after a higher level review. We've seen a lot of those when there's been no higher level review at all. It's just an implementation of a board decision, which is an appealable matter. Every single time that we submitted one of these, you keep sending these letters. I had to threaten the person that runs the entire appellate world in VA that if I keep seeing these, I'm going to the inspector general. And I hope to God they do a report that really sheds light on all of this. And that actually stopped them for a little while. It didn't stop them completely. We still see it. And so if we, as just one firm out here handling cases, see this in a good 50% or more sometimes of the appeals that we submit after a board grant, let me ask you, how many do you think this has happened to nationwide? If there's 1 million plus pending appeals, and I'm just grabbing that number, there's probably more than that. And 100,000 of those are board decisions that come back. And 75,000 of those are appealed, and you submit a reject letter in, half of those, then we're talking 10,000 or more of these cases potentially in a year. And this has been going on ever since the AMA began. So there are tens of thousands of these cases, likely possibly more, out there where a valid appeal has been submitted. But you guys, in your infinite wisdom of letting a non-rating, non-appellate intake specialist decide what a valid appeal is and reject those appeals, and vets out there who don't have somebody like us representing them, all of a sudden have no appeal and don't know what to do about it. And I would go as far as saying the VSOs, No offense, VSOs, but you're probably not doing anything about it. It has to stop. And if you've had that happen to you, I'd kind of like to hear about it. We're interested in those cases because what happens? 20 years goes by, somebody like me gets a hold of that case, and I see that the board issued a grant. The regional office of the DROC implemented that grant. The veteran comes back and appealed it, and you rejected that appeal. And here we are 20 years later. What does that amount to? That amounts to a claim, an appeal that's been pending now for 20 years because you unlawfully rejected a valid appeal. So if I get that case, guess what? I'm going to make sure that you guys address those benefits going all the way back. But it doesn't have to come to that if you guys would just stop rejecting otherwise valid appeals. So please cut it out.
Hey, Nate here, Hill and Ponton's video guy. The video you just watched is expanded on further in this one right here. Learn something more, increase your rating. As Matt always says, knowledge is power. So go ahead,